Hey guys, this is Hetu and welcome back to ETL Labs. So we are covering the Informatica series and this is the fourth session in the series. And so we have already looked at how to import the source as a flat file and how to import as a target as a flat file. And also we have looked at how to import the source and target both as a database, right? Or the relational database or the tables, right? So we have already looked at how to import that. Okay, so there are also other kind of files, for example, XML, COBOL, etc. We are not going into that detail right now. What we will do is we will try to start today with the actual transformation because the previous session were mostly related to importing and then doing a bit of transformation there and loading the data, basically straight loading, right? In this session we will try to actually start about the transformation that we have in Informatica, right? So the very first transformation in Informatica which comes by default when you import the source, either it is a relational or it is a flat file, the transformation that comes by default is source qualifier. All right. So before that, we will try to understand little bit concept about connected and the active transformations, guys. Okay, and then we will look at the source qualifier transformation actually in detail. Okay. So we will also do the coding and we will also load the data and I will show you what is the power of the source qualifier transformation, guys, and what it is used, right, in detail. But before that we will look at it. So the transformation object, right? So we have, as I said, that Informatica is having multiple objects. So everything in Informatica is considered as an object, right? So either you have the source system or the target system, all of them are considered as a Informatica object. In transformation, mapping, or workflow, everything in Informatica is considered as an object. All right. So you know that what is transformation? So transformation is basically predefined. It's kind of function, right? Function in any other language. So basically, they provide a lot of configuration. You can configure and you can use those ready-made functions basically in Informatica to perform any kind of things, right? So just a definition, right, in a layman language. But then we will try to understand what is the I mean, what kind of transformation objects we have, right? So we have mostly, we categorize basically active and passive transformation. Okay, passive transformation. All right. So, and what is active, what is passive, and then after that we will say connected and unconnected. Okay. We will look at the definition and then we will categorize which one is what, which transformation come under what, right? So this is just a foundation so that I thought I will cover it. So what is active transformation? Active transformation is basically, as name suggests, right? It basically, uh, you have input and output, right? Your input and output are not same, right? You input and output are not equal. One second. Input and output are not equal, right? So what transformation does? Basically, transformation is like a function, as I said, right? So it will accept the input and then it will produce some output. So that is the function, that is the functionality of the transformation, right? So where input and output, so when I say input and output, number of rows, guys, okay? Number of rows, how many number of rows we are actually inputting, all right? The same number of rows basically are not, the same number of rows are not getting output, right? So number of rows. So number of rows in input and output are different, then that transformation is called as active transformation. Okay. An example of the active transformation is, I think, very popular one is the filter transformation in Informatica, right? So what filter does basically, if you are actually sending, for example, you are sending actually employees, which is having, let's say, 10 different departments, right? 10 different departments. And in filter transformation, let's say you are putting the condition that department number should be less than or equal to let's say 50, right? So actually you have department number, let's say from 10 to 100. Okay, so these are the 10 different department number, right? And you want to filter the data which are actually the employee, which are actually the department number, which are having a department number less than or equal to 50, means 10 to 50 only, right? And the employees who are having the department number more than 50, like 60, 70, 80, 90, all the all those will be filtered out basically, right? So in that case, let's say there is one record for each of employee, each of departments, let's say, right? 10 row, let's say, coming from the source, and then only 5 will be moving to the target. So here basically number of row in the input is more, and here output it is less, right? So this is called the active transformation, just to give you an example, right? Now passive transformation. So guys, what is passive transformation? As I said, that if number of rows in input and output both are same, in that case that transformation is called as passive transformation, right? Simply. So here guys, okay. And what is the example of this particular passive transformation? One of the transformation that you can consider is expression transformation. Expression transformation, right? Expression transformation, what it does, basically it does not filter out the rows, right? It does basically some kind of let's say some different kind of functions, right, on existing data only. So for example, let's say I have first name, okay, first name, let's say I have source, okay, and in source I have two columns, let's say last name and first name, okay, two columns. Now in my target, let's say if I need to have a target which is having full name, right, full name, and which should basically consist of first name comma first name comma last name, right, comma last name. In this case, actually what is happening, actually we are just appending, I mean basically we are concatenating these two first name and last name field from the source. In target we are actually making a single field which is the full name, and which is uh, you know uh, first name comma last name. So this is how it is, right? But in this case we are actually not filtering anything, right? I mean, if I am getting 100 records from here, the same 100 records will be going here, okay? Only column, number of column will be less in this case, right? So here there are, let's say, two column, then here will be only one column in my targets, right? Otherwise the number of rows will be same only, right? So this is the example of the passive transformation. Hope you are able to understand, guys, right? Okay. Now let's move to connected transformation, right? So connected transformation is basically, if you see the Informatica pipeline, so if you have so the transformation which are basically connected from the source, and it is further connected to some other transformation. Basically you should see the pipeline basically, okay? So there should be a pipeline, which means the you should see the port connecting from one to other stage basically, right? So that is called the connected transformation. Unconnected transformation is basically you will see that the transformation itself is standalone basically, okay? It might be available on your on your workspace, mapping workspace, but it is not connected to any other, which means it is not actually, the ports are not connected to any other, what do you say, the transformation, right? So I will show you, I think we will come to know later point of time more about this, but I will just explain you what is connected when we will do the practice, right? When we do actually try to do the source qualifier transformation, right? So guys, if not clear, don't worry about connected and unconnected, but for now just understand that if the workflow is connected, which means the pipeline is connected from one to other transformation, that particular transformation is actually sending the data, or it is receiving the data from other pipeline, means other transformation or source, and that transformation is called as a connected. And if transformation is standalone, it does not have any connectivity linkage with other transformation, then that is called unconnected. So best example is lookup transformation here, right? Lookup. So there are two kind of lookup. One is connected and unconnected. So unconnected lookup is an example of unconnected transformation. But in case of connected, all the most of the transformation like filter transformation, expression transformation, or even source qualifier transformation, all of them are actually connected transformation. Okay. Now, guys, I think hope you are able to understand a bit about transformation object. Now, what we will do is we will try to understand what is source qualifier transformation, right? And guys, as I said, this is the must-have transformation. Okay, in any of the mapping, you cannot have any mapping designed without the source qualifier. Okay, why? Um, because source qualifier is basically when it provides the metadata of your source systems, right? And it basically tells the Informatica, it basically converts the data type from the different source system into native Informatica, right? We'll try to understand each and everything about it, but don't worry about it right now. Just know that source qualifier is a must-have transformation if your source is file-based system or it is a relational database system. There is some exception, okay? There is some exception. For example, if you have the source as XML or COBOL, you don't need to have the source qualifier, but very similar to the source qualifier, okay? There the transformation name is different, okay? For example, for XML, there is XML parser, okay? And for COBOL source systems, we have the normalizer, but they are also acting as a source qualifier only, okay? So, so what it is basically, let's try to understand. It is, okay, it is basically active transformation, active, and it is connected, first point, all right? Second point about the source qualifier is, it basically, what it does is basically provides a metadata, okay? Provides metadata, metadata of source, right? So basically it tells that your source basically is what kind of, how many columns are there, what is the data type, etc. It basically uh, contains the metadata and that which Informatica can understand. Okay. We will see that how it works, okay, practically, but for now you just understand that, okay. Source system, okay. Now guys, what it also does is basically reads the data, uh, reads, or I would say not reads basically, it basically converts, right? Converts the um, data types to Informatica native data types. Don't worry about it now. What does it mean by Informatica native data types? I will explain you when I will show you the example, right? When we will do the practical, right? So for now, you know that this is a must-have transformation. Okay, you cannot have mapping design, and this comes by default. Okay, you can also import it, but this comes by default, guys. Okay. Now these are few details around it. Okay. Now what we will do is, so what we have done, we have actually seen, we have seen that the source qualifier transformation is mostly applicable for file and uh, relational source, right? Relational source systems, right? So, but in case of file, basically, okay, it just read it, okay, but it doesn't. So, for example, if I have already created one, right? You remember, I have already pulled one. One second, let me. One second, okay, mapping designer. Here, guys, okay. So here, let me show you. So I have, when I was actually importing the flat file to flat file, right? So you remember? Oh, I don't know, something went wrong, guys. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, but the idea is if we have a file based system and actually we are importing it. Okay, let me do one thing even. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll show you also. Okay, don't worry. Now what we have to do is to okay, let me import it probably. Okay, quickly. Okay, we have here this one. Now let me import it. Okay, I just want to import something, not this. Okay, employee. Okay, all right, let's go. Okay, I got something now. Okay, I just want to show you guys. Okay, the intention of. Okay, here also I will just import from file. I want to show you like what are the options that we get when we import the file, uh, and whether we are getting all right here. Okay, now let me go here and let me open a mapping designer. Okay, here guys, in mapping designer, if I just import it, where is source? Okay, source is here, right? So this is flat file. I will just import it here. All right, and then I will also import the target here. So this is target. All right, so you see that when as soon as I imported, the source, and then this came by default, right? This is the source qualifier, guys. Okay, source qualifier will always be coming together when you import the source system. So if you say source system, it is a flat file, and this is the source system. Okay, now I will explain you each and every detail now. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me try to connect all of these ports to target. Okay, okay. Don't worry about this. I think some wrong format, but okay. The idea is I wanted to show you the source qualifier, guys. So this is the source qualifier that will come when you import file as a source. Okay, and we will see that what is the option here. So you see that there is none of the property enabled here, right? Everything is disabled here, right? We do not have anything. We cannot do any kind of query override, and we cannot do source filter, etc. because there is no option here, right? Because this is the file, right? We are actually getting the data from file, and we cannot actually use any kind of query because the source system is not the database, the table, etc. Right? That is the reason there is very limited. So it just read it. So here you cannot do anything here. Okay, it will just help you to read the data from the source. This is the flat file in this case, right? So this is what I wanted to show you, right? So if you see here property, there is nothing. I mean, you can't do anything here, right? There is not all these options are disabled basically, right? Now I want to show you something that what if we have a source as a table, right? Relational database, relational table, right? In that case, we can use the most of the power of the source qualifier that I want to show you, and we want to study, we want to understand more about that, okay? And this interview question will also be from that only most of the time, okay? They will be asking you all those questions, which when the when the source system is the table, right? A relational database. So let me create one mapping, guys, okay? So I'll say M and source qualifier. All right, I'll just give a short name. Now I will import the table. All right, so where is the table? This is the table now. Okay, I'll just import it here. And guys, when I import it, see the source qualifier also came. Now I will also import the target. So where is my target? Target is here, guys. Okay, EMP target. This is also table, guys. Okay. Now I'll show you here. So it is saying you, right? It is showing you why, what is. So you see EMP, and this is saying Oracle, which means it is actually coming from the Oracle source. And this is the source definition, okay? This is the actual table from the Oracle, all right? And then this is something, this is coming together, and this is very specific to Informatica because we are importing the source, and then we are getting this by default. This is the source qualifier transformation. Let me do one thing. Let me connect it first, and then I will explain you each and every details here. Okay. Okay, one second. Employee name, employee. Okay. Date of joining. No, I think no, guys. This I need to remove. I'll just pull this one and I'll pull this data joining. Perfect. Now it's okay. Now, when we have, so this is, pay attention guys, this is very important and tricky and interview related questions here you will find, okay? When we have the source system as a relational database, here in this case, we have the Oracle table, right? Which is relational database, right? Now, if you see that, as I told you the definition, what all the things it does, right? So first of all, we will try to understand whatever definition we have written here. First thing it says that it is active and it is connected. Okay. Why it is active? Because I will show you active. First of all, you understand why it is connected because see, everything coming from source, it is connected. The ports are connected. You see here, right? So this is why it is connected actually. If if I break all these arrows, then this and here also this will be this means unconnected basically, right? That's why it is actually having the pipeline. Okay, source definition, then source qualifier, then target. So there is a pipeline basically arrow mark, right? Which are actually this port is mapped to this port is mapped to this. That's why it is called connected first of all. Okay, active I'll explain you later. Now provides the metadata of the source system, guys. So what it does basically, see, this is the source definition from the Oracle table, but Informatica need to understand what this source system is, right? That's the reason this source qualifier will tell that this is the equivalent. This is the Informatica data type, guys. You see the data type double, n string double, double, date time. All these things you will only find in Informatica. So this is the native data type. Okay, Informatica native data type. This is something Informatica understand. Okay, this is something. This is Oracle. Oracle understand this, right? But this is native data type, which Informatica understands. All right. Hope you are able to understand here, right? So this is the converts data type to Informatica native data type so that rest of the transformation which will be coming in line, they will understand this particular data type. Okay, otherwise they, if I remove it and I just put the source to, let's say, some other transformation filter and all, this will be invalid because other transformation will not understand anything. Okay, that's the reason source qualifier basically provides a metadata of the source system, which means this tells. So this source qualifier basically understand what is the source and what is the data type, and then this will be taken forward from here, which means the rest of the Informatica transformation will understand the source qualifier only. That is the reason it is very, very important. And this is the very first transformation, and we cannot have any mapping without source qualifier transformation, guys. Okay. Now, this we have already explained. Okay. Now we will understand the active. Okay. The term active here. So if I double click on this and if I go to properties, you see guys, plenty of options are here, right? For me, everything is enabled. I can do anything here. Okay. So the very first thing that I can say why it is active, guys, first of all, here there is a query override, which means if you write something here, okay, let me generate something, okay. So I will show you how does it work also. Let me generate something here. So I generated it, which means this is the by default. It has considered all the fields basically, right? So this is the select statement, right? But in case of file, when we were actually importing the file and we got the source qualifier for the file, we did not have these options, right? We did not have this query override options enabled. There was, in fact, none of the options in the properties were enabled for us. But when we have the source as a database, then this power you can use here, okay? So when I say here, I can also do one thing, guys, here, where I can say, let me connect to database first, okay? Okay. What's that? One second, guys. Let me see. 1 second. 1 second. So 1 second, guys. Let me show you the data. Okay. Let me show you the data in source and target also, right? Jar depth. Okay. Now, if I show you select star from EMP, I have this 19 records basically, right? Out of that, what I would like to do is I would like to just load department data for the department number 10. So how many I should get ideally? department number equal to 10. All right. I should get actually how many? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should get only 5 records basically. Okay. In this case, let me go here and I will write this query. Okay. Without even writing the query, I can do one thing here. Okay. I don't want to I don't want to use this override. I can just use the filter here. So what I can do, filter department number, I will put it here 10. Okay, that's all. I'll just say, okay, 1 second. All right, guys, why it is 1 second. 1 sec. So when I go here, I can just go here, and then when I connect it, oh, that's fine. Uh, when I go to this place, yes, correct, you're right. So here, what I have done is I have actually just I'm just filtering the department number 10, okay? Which means this is the source filter. If I give the department number equal to 10, only the data that is related to department number 10 will be moving forward. Here you can actually use all these queries. You can put joiner, etc., right? And you can write the custom query, basically whatever you want to fetch the data from, right? And here we have the defined join. You can define join, what kind of join you want to use, basically, guys. Here you can put it, right? You can put the multiple if you have multiple source system, you can just put the joining between those source systems. So multiple source system, basically, if there are multiple database, right? Database, I mean tables on the same database, then you can actually, instead of using multiple source qualifier, you can pull all of the data from this source definition to this single source qualifier, and you can have this, you can just put this condition, joining condition. Also, guys, this is saying that number of shorted ports, yeah. Number of shorted ports is also basically, it tells the number of input ports used for sorting, right? You can also short it based on the ports, basically 1, 2, 3, whatever, based on the port, actually you can short the data. All right. Now this is tracing level. This is basically how much information you want in your session log, etc. So this keep it normal, because we don't want to, I mean, you can use it if you want the more and more data. So these are the different kind of mode in terms of logging the data for your for your what you say, the debugging, etc. Okay. Now this is the very important one, select distinct. Okay, if there is any duplicate records coming, guys, you can just check it here. Okay, I will check it now, and then you can just get rid of duplicate as well. Okay. Now pre-SQL. So this pre-SQL will run even before your this particular transformation runs, right? And the post-SQL is basically after your session is completed. This post-SQL query will be running. So here you can put the query, right? You can put some delete, or you can put some update, etc. Whatever you want to put, you can put it here. So these are the very very powerful um, properties or feature which are there with the source qualifier. And you see, this very very important thing is actually, let's say if there is a requirement that you don't want the data of you don't want the data, you only want the data for department number 10 employee, and you don't want any other data, you have the ability to filter it in well in advance, right? Here only, in the initial beginning of your transformation itself, here only you can do that filtration, right? Rather than using the filter somewhere here and all, you can actually use it here only, in the source only, right? So this, you see, that very important thing, because if you are able to filter the data uh, in the initial only, then the data, the cost the cost will be very lower, right? Because you are actually able to filter it, and the performance will improve very drastically, rather than if you are filtering it somewhere later point of time, the performance will be slower, because everything has to be moved from here to here, and then after that here to here or somewhere else, right? So that is the reason this source qualifier is very important, when we are using the relational database as a source system, right? So let's try to see whether this is working, right? And these are all the options that you can use, guys, okay? And I would highly recommend that you try each and every options, okay? One by one, and try to understand by your own, okay? Now, this is all done, guys. Now, let me also do one thing. Let me connect to target, okay? And then you see that if there is any record, then I need to delete it before I load it, right? Target, okay. Select star from emp underscore tgt. All right. We have some records here, guys. So let me truncate it. Truncate, truncate table emp underscore tgt. All right, we are done. Now there is nothing, right? Emp tgt, there is nothing here, right? Now, when I load, I should only load the data for employee number 10. All right. Let's see whether it works now. Okay. Now what I will do is I have already designed this mapping. As the next step, as I have shown you in previous videos also, we will go to workflow manager and we will design it. We will design one of the workflow. Okay. Let's wait, guys. Okay. So we are here. Now let me go to workflow. I will say workflow m underscore source qualifier, right? Now, okay, here it is. Now I will just link it. All right. Okay, here I need to just configure it, guys. Okay, it is source. This is perfect, no problem. And in target, I think I have to just select the target here, guys. Okay, this one. And now instead of bulk, I'll say normal. Okay, everything should be fine. Now this is valid and this is inserted also saved, right? Let's try to run and we will see the target data, target is populated or not. So after running here in the workflow, you can go to, it will automatically take you to the workflow monitor, guys, right? Now it will open up. Let's monitor it there, whether the workflow is succeeded or not. Okay, so this particular workflow is running. Session is also running. Um, let's give few more minutes. I think it will be very quick only. So it's running in normal mode. See, it is succeeded basically. Okay. So this session is succeeded. Now workflow is also succeeded. Let me right click and open the log. And we can see we should have at least, what is that? 5 records, I think only, right? 3 records. Ah, okay. Do we have only 3 records? All right, guys. Is it? Do we have 3 records? That's what my question is. Okay, let me see. No, okay, I have to say here schema. I have to give the schema name HR underscore dep dot. Ha, okay. Why it is 3? You remember, guys, okay? Now I'll show you why it is, right? I'll also use distinct here, okay? Distinct. This is the Oracle one, right? How many we can see now? Here we can see 5, no? Here we can see only 3, and those 3 are there. Why? So here, this entire operation is happening basically. Okay. So what is happening? First, distinct, which means if there are duplicates, it will actually select only distinct record. In this case, you see Cooper 10, 10 Cooper, 10 Cooper, entire record is duplicate, guys, right? You see here. That's why only one copy from here. And one Robert here also. Entire record is duplicate, right? All the fields, right? That's why one record from here and one record from this Ali, right? So there are 3 records. That's why we are getting 3 now. Okay. And we are selecting it for department number 10. So this is the equivalent query that you can write in the database to validate this kind of things, right? We will also look at what kind of testing we have to do basically. Though it is a little bit, but then I will explain it here, right? Now let's go here and try to understand, okay, the coding bit. So this is something that you will get in the your mapping document, right? What filter should be there, guys, right? And you have to verify whether they have coded correctly in the, so So as I said there, right, you might be having the access to the mapping, etc. If you are a tester, and given that your management supports that, the tester should be able to see all these things, and you have the right skill sets. You also will be given this kind of mapping, and you can go and verify whether the developer has coded rightly or not, right? By mistake they might put something department number less than or equal to or less than 10 or something like that, right? It should not happen, or maybe 20 by mistake, right? So all these things you can actually get it verified against your mapping document or STM document or data lineage sheet, right? So this is the one condition, and second condition is select distinct, right? Which means actually I have I want only the unique record. Okay, so these are the two conditions that we can see in the source qualifier here only, right? So this is why this particular query will give you the right result. Okay, and these are the records that we are getting. Now what I will do is, okay, I have already shown you, right? So where is the target? Okay, let me run the, where is the target? Okay, this is the target, guys. You see exactly the same rows are there, guys, right? Three. All right. So this is how basically you can verify. Okay. Now coming back to testing bit, guys, what are the testing that you can do when you see this kind of transformation? One is obviously you can take the count, right? What kind of count you can take? You can actually take the count, total count. Okay. Let me write the query. What are the things you can do? So part of testing, right? One thing is row count. Okay. Row count in source and target. Okay. Second thing is you can verify the data validation, guys, right? You can verify if there is a duplicate or not in target, right? You have to verify that. Third thing what you can do is you can also check the minus query, right? Minus query if data truncation is there or not. Data truncation or extra something extra is loaded or not, right? And also, obviously, you can verify, the column data size, etc., that compatibility as well, right? So let's try to see each and everything how we can do this row count, basically row count validation. So you can actually use row count something like this, guys. Okay, one second. It's very simple, right? Right, so let's do one thing. Let me just give you, okay, let me do one thing. Okay, are we connected to HR dep underscore? Otherwise, let me do one thing. Select count, count. So something like this, guys, yeah? So basically you can get this, this is the source, right? So this is the query, and then for count you can actually run this, right? So if you run it, it will give you 3, right? And in target, it is very simple, right? So in target, you don't need to do anything. You just need to get select count, okay, count of star from HR dep underscore tgt dot emp dot tgt, right? One second, guys. Emp. Then you get the 3 count, right? So this is how you can verify the count. And then if there is any duplicate in the target or not, you can simply run this, right? This kind of query, okay? So if you see that, okay, in this, what all the columns are there? I mean, I already have covered all those queries in my how to find the duplicate, etc. in my SQL, right? So you can use it, but let me write it again one more time for you, okay? E number, E number, E name, then the PT number, and then date of joining. All right. From EMP, okay, from EMP underscore, sorry, one second, HR dep tgt dot emp underscore tgt. All right. Group by Group by, let me just copy, okay. Let me type it, guys. E number, E name, DPT number, date of joining, alright, having count of star greater than 1. No rows, right? There is no rows basically, right? Which are having duplicate, right? So this is the query to get the duplicate across all the fields, right? This is how you can get it, right? So the duplicate check you can do, and then minus query, guys, right? So minus query will ensure that you do not have the extra data or any truncation, etc. So for example, I will just show you one minus query here. Okay, I don't want to run all of them here. Okay, for example, I just want to run it for employee number. Okay, you can actually use for other column. Let's say I will take two columns, guys. Okay, then I will say minus select e number, e name from hr deb, this is schema, and then emp, right? Guys, it is saying that there is no rows selected, right? Which means everything whatever we have got in target is actually coming from source, and there is no issue with that, right? Now if I want to check other way around, all right, emp means I want to do source minus target and then see what happens, right? I should get all those which are not loaded in target, guys, right? emp underscore tgt. One second, something went wrong. Yeah, here. Guys, see, there are 11 rows which are actually more in source, and in target we do not have them. That's why we are getting this, record. Ideally, when you run the minus query target minus source, then you should get zero row, no row selected, right? In that case, you see that everything is running fine and your data validation is correct. Okay. So these are the some of the data validation that you can do for the source qualifier, guys. That's why I want to give you some idea, okay? And these are not only data validation that you have to put. You can do it based on, the data lineage or, your Steam document, right? You have to refer that. And yeah, so that's what these are the one from the testing point of view, guys, okay? So what I will do is when I cover the transformation, right? Transformation object, I will also cover this testing at the end of the video, so that you also get yourself clarified. Okay. And what I will suggest you, please go and create these mappings. Okay. And this will really give you a lot of opportunity to learn, right? So from testing side also, if you know all this, how this coding is happening, it will be very easy for you to think some kind of defect, right? I mean, if you know that how what kind of coding developers does, right? Then you also have that line of thinking that you can understand that this kind of mistakes normally developers can make, right? And then you can focus more on testing and that areas, right? That is the reason I'm covering. So these sessions, that Informatica session is not only for developer guys, this is also for tester. Okay, I will say this is not very primary for testing team, but it is good to know actually. So that is the reason I'm covering all these things, and at the end I'm covering the QA side of it also, right? So that's all, guys, for this video. And yeah, uh, I think a lot many things to cover yet. Yeah, so I will cover one by one. But at the same time, I expect that you all are following it and using utilizing the most of it. Yeah, guys. So that's all. And one more request, please do like, subscribe if you are watching it first time, and if you are watching it, you are returning it and watching it again and again, then please like the video, so that I will know. And if you're not liking it, also dislike it, so that I will also know that you are not liking, right? And put the comment out if you need any, even the smallest question you might have. And also if you want me to make videos on related to the ETL Informatica, because right now I'm covering the Informatica part, it will be very easy for me to make the related videos, and I can take down those topics and I can do the videos. So please do comment and so that I can take up those. And yeah, I mean there are a lot of transformations. So this is the very first transformation that we have covered today, and hopefully you are able to understand and hope you are making best use of this channel. So that's all guys for this video, and I'll see you soon with the next video. Until then, happy learning. God bless you. Bye.